What we're doing today. We are talking about Cavassier, and today on part two, we are going to get into the rosemary mule. So it is Cavassier VS, rosemary syrup, lime juice, and one of my favorite non-alcoholic drinks, ginger beer. So we're gonna get into we're gonna start off with the background of Moscow Mule. So I know like recently like a lot of people have been seeing it and been asking for it a lot lately in a lot of different bars and restaurants, the Moscow Mule. So a lot of people think that the Moscow Mule originates from Russia because it's Moscow, the capital of Russia is Moscow. So, funny story is, which is something I really didn't know about it myself when I started making them a couple years ago with the Moscow Mules, is that Moscow Mules are actually originated here in the U.S., right? In the USA, right? And right here in the Big Apple, as we call it, New York today. So back in the early 40s, the Moscow Mule was adopted by a group of brothers, which one of three who owned part of Colonel Fox. So they are the originators of the Moscow Mule. And also, instead of calling it Moscow Mule, you can call it AKA a vodka buck. So what I mean by vodka buck, simply because it has vodka in it, but the buck comes from the copper. So the reason why they call it a buck, which like pennies are made out of copper, which kind of like why you just call it like penny vodka. It would be kind of like cool too, in my opinion. But it's another conversation for another day. So the copper mug actually is used to keep the drink cold, amongst like other different cocktails where you see the glass is always sweating, or like right now how you can see like my ginger beer is sweating because it is freshly cold. And a lot today, there are a lot of remixes with the mule. So you may have a tequila mule, which I like to call a donkey mule because mule, donkey, yeah. Or you can do a Kentucky mule, which is your choice of whiskey or bourbon. You can do a Irish mule, which is simply with whiskey. Or if you want to do like a French mule, maybe like a carbon mule, or if you want to remix it and call it a DPM mule, I want to call it a lamb mule, anything in that realm. So, but the thing is with my mule, we are going to remix it. So instead of using simple syrup, or a lot of people, in which I've done it before, I use triple sec to kind of like fill the cup up because the cups are maybe about I want to say this one's maybe about like 12 or 13 ounces. So it's kind of hard to pour a lot of liquor in here and fill it up with juice, but still have that same consistency with the cocktail. So because this one is a cognac mule, we're just call it a French mule. But we know the ingredients, right? So let's get into the ingredients we're going to use today. So a lot of things, two today that I see is this brand, which I like this brand, which is it's a little bit cleaner. It has natural flavors and natural ingredients, and of course the biggest thing is ginger beer. So for a lot of those who don't know what ginger beer is really just, it's not a beer because there's no beer. So it's simply just ginger and carbonated water, or filtered water, or soda water, or whatever you choose to use put ingredients. But, some people do they mix their rose water. Some people may want to do like a lavender ginger beer, or maybe like a tulip ginger beer. It's simply just infusing different ingredients in the ginger beer. So I like this brand. But another brand that I do like when I use for ginger beer is a Cockable ginger beer, which actually one of the three brothers that I talked about earlier actually owns Cockable as well. So, it's a family far away. Like, yeah, so we are going to move on to the next thing, which is my rosemary syrup, which is also one of my favorite things too, because I love rosemary, y'all. I love me some good rosemary and some good thyme. So it's simply nothing but I use spring water in all of my syrup, and it's boiled rosemary with raw ground crystallized sugar. And of course, we're going to get into the next thing, which is the lime juice. So this is fresh squeezed lime juice, y'all. It took me a little while to make it, but it's really worth it. Like the cocktails, as far as craft cocktails, they take a little bit longer, but once you taste it, you like, holy crap, like this is so good. So, everything that is good always has a little bit of wait time. Good things come to those that wait. And I got some fresh rosemary. It is Taco Tuesday. I wish I did have my little mustache, but I ran out of time today, so we're going to do a little rosemary. And I got me a fresh lime. I normally use key limes because they're a little bit healthier, but today we're going to use our regular limes. There isn't anything wrong with regular limes. It's just me and my specifics and what I truly like to use because it brings out flavor and the naturalness of the cocktail. And yeah, so we are going to get into it. So I'm going to make it twice, y'all. So the first time we're just going to run through it. And these mule cups, this is real coffee. You can hear it. So, I know a lot of times, like back in the day, like even with plumbing and whatnot, they use copper pipes. Today everybody's using ceramic and plastic and all that. But me, I'm young and old at the same time. We call it the young blood. So I am going to make this. So we're going to get ourselves a couple of scoops of ice. And remember what I told y'all, you definitely want to fill the cup or glass up. I know a lot of people, when I'm working, they be like, light ice, but realistically, y'all, it's the same amount of alcohol with ice or without ice. Without ice, you're probably feeling a little bit more. You're trying to get which I really don't know from bartenders, but it is what it is. The more you sip, the more you tip. I'll take it, man. And I am simply just going to fill this up. This is a teach more. And from my experience, bartenders or mixologists out there, I'm sure a lot of y'all don't use these, but I kind of like it. It's like it's ancient, like it gives it like a different flair, different feel. It's like you're a flair bartender. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna throw it up in the air and drop it. But if you catch me on a good day while I'm at work, I will do it for you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is 2 ounces of liquor. And also, if you guys see within the jigger, there's like a little lime in it, which until you stop at the rim. But me, sometimes I like to go a little bit more just to get a little pop. You know what I'm saying? And then we're gonna get into our rosemary syrup. We're gonna pour a little bit in there. So this is just a normal way of how to make a Moscow Mule. It's simply whatever liquor you choose. I'm choosing Cavassier. I drink it and they can. So Throw a little lime in there. With me, mine is going to be a little bit unorthodox. So I put it in here first, like chill it, give it a little swirl, and I'm going to pour it in the shaker. Remember, y'all, it's hot. And this time I'm going to just pour that in there, y'all. And what you can see, like when you shake your cocktail, it adds a little bit more to it. So for those who are at home, just lean over and show you. You can see the frost from the copper too. Like I like that. It's like adding dry ice to your cocktail. And then we're just gonna simply just top this off. A little fever tree. Got a little sizzle. And then what I'm gonna do, y'all, I am simply going to drop the rosemary in here. Give it a little bit of sex appeal. I like sexy cocktails. So we're simply just gonna cut our lime. So I know a lot of y'all too, y'all see bartenders cutting lime. So I just cut mine right down the middle. And then I'm gonna cut right in the middle. Again. And then I'm gonna cut it again. And that's gonna give us a perfect wig. But you know, another way to be or to like, make a shortcut. Sometimes I will cut a little slit in the middle and pop out to the side. But I'm just gonna squeeze that in there, drop that in there, and then we got us a nice little mule. So we're gonna taste it the first time. This is gonna be my drink later when I make it top. That's it right there, y'all. And there is the rosemary mule. So depending on what ginger beer you get, the taste will be different. I like fever tree, I like copper bull. I personally don't really choose regatta because it has a weird, like, soapy taste to it. You don't want to drink it. I mean, it's pretty good, I mean, that lets you know that you're drinking it clean. It's just my preference. And yeah, so we're gonna call this the French mule again. And definitely, if you want the ingredients of this cocktail, definitely hit me up on Instagram and Facebook. Braintongue Foods, all one word. Via email, braintonguefoods@gmail.com. And if you want to shoot me a DM or email, I'll give you my personal cell phone number too. So that way you can contact me directly. So sometimes too, y'all, what I will do is to give it a little bit more floral when it goes to the table or when you use from the bar to the customer. I like to light the rosemary. So that's one thing that I will do, which is to give it a bit of a better of a aromatic taste and a smell too. So definitely when that cocktail is coming to the table, or if you walking with it, you got the tray in your hand and you drink the like I smell rosemary. Like what is that? They're like, oh, it's just it's our mule. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab a lighter for you guys, and I'm gonna show you exactly what this looks like. So I'm gonna just light up a tad bit of it, which y'all can't smell it, but it gives it a better smell. So we're gonna get into it again. And I am going to put up the ice. And then I am going to put tad bit of ice. Now, one thing too that y'all will see a lot of different bartenders and mixologists do, they'll wait to put the ice in last because they'll pour the liquor in first and the lime, and they'll muddle it, which is also a good way to give it that lime and ginger taste too. So that's also a good tip, which we'll re-go over that too as well. And so now we're going to get back into doing it again. So again, Cavassier VS, which again, I talked about a little bit about Cavassier yesterday, which a lot of times I know we see those VSs, those VSOPs, those XOs, those cars, all those different like abbreviations, which is simply just they're like little abbreviations for very special, extra rare, very special old pill, and certain things in that nature. So it's simply just the way that it's aged. What I mean by age is simply because we can see how old it is, or even with the floral of the smell. So majority of our cocktails majority of our cognacs and whiskeys and bourbons are aged simply because of because you want that taste. So Cavassier is made from grapes and champagne, and depending on the kind of barrel that it's aged. So this is the VS. So this is a very special. And simply because how long it's aged. So if we're not mistaken, I think this one is aged between it's a 5 and 6 year batch. Some might be a little bit older than that, like maybe like Louis 13, Louis 14, 1942 in the world, so forth and so forth. And the older it is, the little bit more expensive it gets, but you pay for quality, not quantity. So, like I said, you're going to do we're going to use Rainton's legendary rosemary syrup. Definitely, y'all don't have the ingredients. What I will do for my first go round, just to say hey and show face, I will batch these out and give them to you. Just be sure to contact us. You can get in touch with those who need. You can get in touch with myself. You can get in touch with my man, TJ Gray, as well. Actually, helped sponsor this event, which is a great long-term friend of mine as well. And we're going to add our fresh lime juice in there as well. Pop it on there. And this time we're going to strain it. And you see that coloration too. That's one thing that you do see in my cocktails. That's one thing that I do try and strive for with the color, because the color, and I know you really can't see it in the same cup, but if it was in a rock flag or a Highland or a Coop flag, you could definitely see the color as well. And you don't have to necessarily use the mule cup. I mean, if you wanted to stay cold, you can definitely do that. Or if you don't, you want to just go with presentation, you can use a tall glass, short glass, water glass, whatever you choose to use. Up to your discretion. And we are going to simply add and this time, y'all, what I am going to do, I am going to add the flare. Push your lighters up. And it's simply just to give it a little. And don't worry, y'all cocktail is not gonna catch on fire when y'all do this because it's already different ingredients in it. Now, if it was just the rosemary and the Cavassier by itself, then it might. But I'm not gonna do it. I mean, I've done it before, now so and I'm just gonna just throw that in there. And there we go, y'all. Never let them try me like no weak bitch. Ratchet and break bitch. Cut you with your nigga for a weak bitch. So again, that's 2 ounces of liquor or Cavassier, ounce of lime, an ounce of whatever syrup you use, and you're gonna top it off with ginger beer and lime. And this fever tree, you can actually get this anywhere. I got mine at World Market because they have a lot of different cool little like whatnots when it comes to like different cocktail ingredients. But you find it in Publix, Target, Kroger. It's everywhere, y'all. You can find these little materials on Amazon, Walmart, Target, Amazon, all that fun stuff. And again, y'all, it is the rosemary mule. And make sure y'all definitely tune in tomorrow from 6:30 to 7 for happy hour with me. One and only, Landon Sanders. So that is the rosemary mule, y'all. Just give it a little bit more feel. And one thing too about Cavassier, what y'all can do is, so I'm just gonna take my my shot glass, and what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna pour a little bit into it. And what I learned is when I took a class on different cognac and stuff over the world. So what you can do is, if you want to just like swirl your glass around, and a little remnant of it is what you would call, as they would call it, not like angel tears, which that just shows how old the cocktail is. Not like old and expired, but old and aged. So yeah, so it pretty much looks like the cocktail is prime, which no, but that is for my lifetime. You know, and you can do this in a plastic glass too, but also in a regular glass, you just see it more. And like I said, you know, if you want to just like pick a little bit of your rosemary off, light it, throw it in here. And you have you a little like in the night shot, you know, start season 2 thing. You don't have to necessarily, you know, I'm gonna do I like the taste of it. And I definitely I am a brown guy myself, you know, I do like white well. You know, as they say in the Russian the white gets you right, brown is bad. So yeah, and you can definitely see the grapes as well, and you can see the wood also in the cocktail, which is one of the things you want to look at when you're out and about and you're drinking. And I know a lot of times too, you know, when we go out and we look at a bar and you see like all these different liquors, liqueurs, and it all looks confusing. But after a while, it's all gonna like look the same. It's really just a bunch of different names. You know, you have your vodka, and also as well, one thing about the emblem on Cavassier, if I'm not mistaken, it is an oak leaf, and it is purple. And one reason too why they chose purple and gold is simply because purple and gold are royalty colors. And whatever you choose to look at it in ancient culture and in today's time, purple and gold has always been colors of royalty. So, you know, Cavassier is it's a royal drink. The queen herself is drinking, different individuals in all over Europe use it, and they actually have fields that are specifically made for vodka. So, it's a late cognac de Napoleon. Is one thing that I do like, and definitely, like when I'm making cocktails or if I'm drinking a drink or if I'm making a drink, I usually like to explain the knowledge or the background behind it. And I know, like sometimes maybe a little woman like, look, like just make my drink. Like it's been a long day, so I just make my drink. But sometimes I like to go a little bit more in depth. And it's an icebreaker between myself and the guests, or if I'm entertaining people at home. Is that an icebreaker, or if I'm doing one of my events or anything? I usually, I always have like a little banner as you will see, like so. And I definitely explain cocktail ingredients, where it's from, its origins of the herb, so forth, so forth. And the ingredients, and what I put in it, and actually what made me want to use this as a cocktail. So, it's definitely like one of those fun, festive things. It doesn't have to be long and drawn out. You got to drop a match in there. You got to flip it. You got to shake it. You got to do a lot of that different, like, fun stuff, which is cool, adds to the feel. It's like, once you get the drink, you're like, man, my drink, don't water it down. So me, I'm quick, I'm simple, but it's crafty too, y'all. So, again, craft simply is just natural ingredients and coffee. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. I know I did. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow from 6:30 to 7, where I will be making the hump day drink. And that one is going to be pretty dope. You guys definitely going to like it. I'm not going to tell you exactly what's in it, but I'm going to tell you a little bit what's in it. I got a little cranberry in there, a little pink ginger. We're going to go back to the ginger beer again. But, I'm going to show y'all, I put a little rose in there, little rose petals, I boil my water there. You can use your rose water, his hair, his face, all that fun stuff. So definitely, tune in. Sebastian.
Hi, Landon.
What's up?
Thank you for carrying the vibes for our happy hour segment, sponsored by Cavassier, courtesy of Cavassier. Thank you guys for drinking responsibly and enjoying these dope vibes. Also, the tunes that we are playing in the background is available on Spotify, so make sure you guys follow us so you can download, stream, and save our playlist to your own curated playlist. Today, we have my guy, Corey Fielder, in the building. So we want to welcome him to our live. What's up, Corey?
What's going on? What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, how you feeling?
I'm good, man. Long day, but I'm here, happy and blessed.
We appreciate you. For those that may or may not know, this is Corey's first time to our platform, so we will definitely want to welcome him. This is actually our first nightlife experience, and so therefore, it's definitely a different vibe. But we want to say thank you to those dope vibe curators of Atlanta Nightlife for blessing our live with your knowledge, your experience, and some gems. But without further ado, we want to get this conversation started with a nice toast. We want to get a nice toast, courtesy of Cavassier. Where you guys toast at, and who's going to give the toast? Landon, you want to bless us with a toast again?
Sure, definitely. I'll bless y'all with the toast. Happy Tuesday. Happy Taco Tuesday. Definitely grateful to be here with Dope People Meet. And, definitely make sure, you add Dope People Meet. Make sure you add Miss Portia Marie. Make sure you add myself. And definitely PJ the Great myself. Definitely cheers to new beginnings, more blessings, and new friends, y'all. Cheers.
Yes. Cheers. All right, I'm good to go.
So
I don't know about you, but I'm good to go. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. Left my cup on the other side of the room, but I toasted
Oh, dang, you
instead.
could have went and got it. We would have waited for you.
It'd have been weird. It's all good. all
So
good.
please introduce yourself to those who may or may not know who you are.
Okay, I'm Corey Felder, also known as Corey with a K. Um, I am a Clark Atlanta graduate. I am a curator here in the city. I'm an owner here in the city. I'm an investor here in the city. I'm a life liver here in the city. I hail from New Jersey, product of a single parent, but a big tribe. I'm blessed to be here, and I think my life and my work speak for itself in that aspect. I'm happy for everybody who's been there for me along the way and to get me to where I'm at, man. And of course, we could talk about it. Let's do it.
Yes. Now let's get right into it. Let's talk about your early years. What
Okay.
inspired you or sparked your interest in the nightlife scene?
Um, Honestly, I got bit by the bug when I was about 15 years old. Well, I'd probably say 13 actually. Um, Shout out to my friends on my block in Jersey. I'm from the same place Queen Latifah's from, Irvington, New
Oh,
Jersey.
wow.
Yeah, and a gentleman who lived 2 blocks over from me started a movement that is, I mean, it's been so long lasting. Michael B. Jordan shouted it out like 3 weeks ago. It was called the Hit Squad, and it's actually the name that we adopted when we came here. But we would go to these parties, and to the point I was sneaking out at 13, trying to go to these parties, and they were high school parties. But the mold that the gentleman took, rest in peace, DJ Tory T. We just lost him last year. Um, he actually um, took all the important people from the high schools and put them in one group. So if that's the pop and cheerleader, if that's the knucklehead dude with all the girls like, if that's the jock, and put us all in one group and then put us on the flyer, no different than we do celebrities today. And we marketed the party based on our high school. So if you're at the local Shabazz High School, Michael X Shabazz High School, and it's a 4,000 student school, you got more tickets than my school that only had 300 people, which was an all boys school, but it was popping. Or the girl who went to the all girls school, but she cheerleaded for the prep school across the state. So I mean, it's a lot of different things. So I got bit by that bug. Just the fact that he was making kids who look like me and you, no matter what their background, celebrities in their own area. And we would go to these parties, man. I was paying $20, $30 for parties when I was in high school. It's probably why I'm so bad about it now. Like, you got to pay at this point. If I was doing it at 13, got bit by that bug. Yeah, got bit by that bug, and I actually started working. My friends and I started a group called ENN and ENF. That stands for, hopefully we're not censored, Every Nigga's Nightmare and Every Nigga's Fantasy was the girls' version. And we started that with the mold of just doing the same thing that the Hit Squad was doing. And, that phased out a little bit. Then I got recruited to go work for a skating ring nearby, and the skating ring had their own street team. So I ran that, and lo and behold, the gentleman went and got uh, my um, my friends and put them all in the group, and then basically they went to come and poach me from the job. So they all showed up one day and said, "Yo, what's up? You gonna get down or what?" And the rest is history. So I started throwing parties with them, matriculated, learned under them, got the understanding of it, felt it even more. And then when I came to school, we saw a void. And there were guys who were shit my age now throwing parties for, college students. And it didn't make sense. There was a disconnect. And from there, we wanted to fill that void. And I got with 9 of my friends who all happened to be from New Jersey with me. And we started our version of the Hit Squad in the South. And we've been going 15 years later.
That is so dope. I think that's really, really dope, because now I want to talk about the progress from starting out as a promoter and now you're an actual club owner, one of the hottest clubs in Atlanta, Oak ATL. So let's talk about that whole process.
Okay. Basically that happened, that was God. I've always believed if you put in the work, the rest will come, the money will come. And That's a testament to my life. I've never chased a dollar. Every dollar I've got has been dropped off because of something somebody else saw. A testament, literally, to my work as I opened up about, and that's what Oak was, man. A relationship that I had 10 years before, with one of my partners. He saw some college students come in his hood club and pop it off every Friday, and he remembered that. And regardless of that club shutting down and different business ventures, he ran into my partner Lyric, and as we were trying to do a party for Super Bowl at League Tavern, which is owned by the people we do who own Cafe Circa, uh, they referred us to them to try to get it. Like, hey, I just sold it to this guy, some hood dude, and you can see maybe he'll let you throw a party there. Lyric took the meeting with him. He somehow went, brought me up, and he said, FaceTime that nigga. That's what he said, literally. And they FaceTime me. I was out of town somewhere, and I hadn't seen this guy in 10 years. And he was like, yo, you couldn't take the meeting with me? I'm like, yo, I didn't know it was you, and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, well, I'm going to do y'all even better solid. Instead of it being you guys trying to do this party for Super Bowl, how about you just come in as partners? And we were blown away. And that he bet on us. As he likes to say it, he wanted the dream team of promoters to be owners, and he did that. We have a very good group of guys, and not to be cocky or anything like that, but I think his design work. I think grabbing the right mold of guys from different arenas inside of promotions has us where we are successful today. We are popping today. I mean, we got a big weekend right now, so.
So what would you say is like the main challenges as a club owner at this point?
Keeping the business straight. This is a handshake business more than a lot of others. We do business off of our relationships. We do business off of entertainers. It's kind of hard to put a contract together when somebody says, well, I got Wale coming through later on and he just wants 2 bottles. I can't say, send me a contract on that, because that's the difference between Wale getting on the microphone and performing and, just coming through. Rod Wave, perfect example this past Saturday. The gentleman had a show somewhere. He couldn't make his show. So now the only reason Rod Wave is in Atlanta is because of our club. And the price that he gave us was because he had been friends with one of the owner's sons, literally. He came through and ended up giving us 4-song concert, with a packed out club.
Wow.
Those things are hard to come by, but there's also a black side of that. There's also and when I mean black, I mean a darker side of it versus that being a golden side. And sometimes you get burnt. Sometimes you get in positions where you do that handshake based on their relationship, and everybody doesn't vet everybody out well. So sometimes that situation can get messy. Sometimes that situation can go south. But we do a really good job of keeping the riffraff away, but it follows you in this business in so many different ways. But we like to do good business, and I think we're open because we do good business. We haven't been perfect in our business because we're still learning as owners. And we're not afraid to say that. We're not afraid to keep learning. But we're in a good position. We thank God for that.
That's really, really dope. And I just want to talk about, the new climates that we are in,
Right.
with the whole virus and things of that nature. So it's different. It's a different ball game. Not
Right.
only been a promoter, but now you're a club owner and trying to keep the business afloat, especially due
Right.
to, the situations people may be in. Some people don't have as much money to spend, or some people may have more money to spend now, So what has that been like due to the new climate that we are in?
It's been weird, man. It's funny. So all of us talk, and all of us, I mean, ownership around the city, Black, white, Asian, you know, uh, we all talk, and what we've identified is that the younger crowd is coming out a little bit more than the crowd that may be, my age or senior. The one thing about Oak Atlanta, we have an array of different events, and we don't necessarily call ourselves a club. We're a multifaceted venue, and in that venue we do comedy. In that venue we do brunch. In that venue we do weddings. I mean, we've done some of everything, And I will say that a lot of our events that cater to our older crowds, like your sit down brunches and your special events and your comedy, has slowed a little bit. Whereas events like my little brother does brunch on Sunday, which is extremely notorious in this city. His crowd of 25 and unders, they haven't missed a beat. So it's a very weird dynamic. As a venue, we haven't taken a hit. As a promoter, I felt it, but as a venue owner, we really haven't missed much. The money in the city is definitely younger. The money being spent in the city is definitely younger. The people you see out are younger. It just is what it is. I mean, we're making TMZs and all that stuff. I mean, Atlanta's definitely open, but we're trying to be responsible with that up too. I actually got put on the mayor's council advisory council for reopening the city, so I got to represent Nightlife on a facet where I can help make the decisions on how we reopen the city. And it was a little frightening to sit with, the CEOs of UPS and Delta and Lyft and anybody else who is a major player in this city, and make $1 million decisions. And ultimately, our mayor feels strongly about the people in this city versus higher ups and the economics of the city. As an owner, is a very hard place to be in. I will definitely tell you that it's very hard to stay closed and lose all those jobs. But then again, we don't want to lose any lives. So it's always been people before profit. So we want to make sure that we're doing our part. So we've installed the plexiglass. We give you masks at the door, gloves, and everything like that for patrons. It's just very hard to enforce it. It's hard to get with the new norm in that specific setting. It's very hard to drink a drink through a mask. So um, it's a lot of different things that we're still learning. The mold is definitely going to change, and I'm very curious to see what happens when other states and cities start opening up. But as of right now, we're in that position and we're trying to wear it as well as we possibly can.
That is so interesting to me because I didn't realize like it took all of that
Hmm.
to reopening a club. And
Yeah.
and it's so funny because I personally have said, if you gotta wear a mask and all that to be in the club, you don't need to be in the
You don't need to
club.
be in a
But
club, right? Right, 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 right.
but it's funny because it's just different. It's so different, and I know it's risky. Like you said, as club owners, because you don't want anybody to say, "Oh, well, I went to Oak and I got Corona" or anything of that nature. But I just think it's dope that you are trying your very best to enforce,
Right.
rules and regulations to keep everybody safe. So I can still commend you guys on that because I saw your IG story this past weekend and it was crazy.
Crazy. And it's
I
funny,
was
I've been
like,
trying to
oh
stay
my
away from that.
gosh.
I've been trying to stay away from posting, man. And but people ask me, "Yeah, y'all still open? Y'all still doing business?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we doing okay." I mean, and we're blessed. It's a rock and a hard place situation, I promise you. But people are beating down the doors to be there. I mean, just this weekend we have 112 in Jericho Thursday. We have Gucci Friday. We have Lala and Tyler LaPlea from P Valley Saturday day and Moneybag that night. And then Sunday we're chilling. And then Monday we coming back with Dirk. I mean, oh, and then I'm sorry, Sunday night we're doing a Little Baby. So I mean,
Wow.
it's a great situation to be in, but it's scary. I mean, I stay behind the bar. Anybody time you see me, I'm behind the bar with a mask on. I'm still frightened. My mama still call me and tell me, "Hey, boy, you got your mask on?" And she'll FaceTime me too. Like, let me see. So
That is so funny. It don't matter how
yeah,
old you get, parents are going to forever be parents and
absolutely.
treat you like their baby.
My mom is 5'1" and full of hell. She hit hard. She heavy handed. I ain't trying to get slapped, punched, or any of that. And she don't care. She don't care how big I am. And I that's how it is. But we definitely want to be responsible. It's definitely not a game. It's definitely not a joke, and we want to put ourselves in the best position possible and keep people as safe as possible. But it's definitely a difficult balance. I will tell you that.
No, I understand that. And I want to talk about, having a
Go
great
for it.
team around you, what is
Right.
that hiring process is like for employees of your club? And
Mhm.
especially now, I know some people may not have wanted to come back to work and then you have to
Mhm.
go through a whole new hiring process. What
Right.
is that like? Making sure you have qualified individuals in your establishment.
When we started the business, we had a mold where we didn't want. I'll speak for waitresses at this point. We didn't want a girl who was used up, and by used up, I didn't want a girl who worked at 4 different places before me. And some business owners and some bars like that because they feel like they bring clientele. But we wanted to give new, fresh faces an opportunity. Um, I'm born and bred in the AUC, Clark Atlanta, Morehouse, Spelman College, and respectfully Morris Brown. And I want to make sure that if there's a girl or a guy who needs a job there, because I was that guy at some point, we want to give them an opportunity. And we hired as such. And it's the same thing. It's just been a little bit more difficult as COVID has struck and people have been displaced in different ways. There are businesses that, were extremely prominent that are closed, that haven't reopened. And I mean, these are big chains. And I don't take it for granted. And, there are people who, simply need jobs. So we've took that compassion we first started with, reaching out and transferred it into these people who've been displaced, who don't have jobs, who are in bad positions. There's a girl who's been a waitress for me who got her master's while working at, my venue. There's a girl who takes care of 2 kids as a single mom. There's a guy there who lives with 3 other people to make ends meet. Whose rent we had to pay. That's the struggle that a lot of people don't see when they comment, when they think about it. It's more than me just getting rich. I'm not getting rich off Oak Atlanta, not yet at least. And as any business, in their first year or two like that, it's cool. It's good money, but I'm not ready to buy my yacht yet. You know what I'm saying? And I think some people think that when we get in these positions, we become instant millionaires. My friend Ryan Wilson, who owns the Gathering Spot, we had this conversation a few days ago, and it was the same dialogue. Like people, don't understand that this is a grind still. It's just at a higher level. You're responsible for more people. And that's exactly what we want to do is be responsible. So if I need to hire you, you know, so that you have to stay in Atlanta versus going back to a poverty stricken situation in your hometown, then that's the type of conversations I want to have. Those are the type of lives we want to change.
That's really dope. And I want to talk about what do you feel like is the key to developing a solid team, and what's that one character trait that a person must portray in order to be worthy to work alongside you?
I always need a bulldog, man. This business gets tough, and well, it's 2 things. I need a bulldog, and I really need a good woman. And what I mean by that is, I believe that females are the key to a lot of great business. I really have always thought that. I grew up in a household with my mom, just my mom, but I had extended family, and it was all women. So I got to see the inner workings of a woman's hustle. And with that being said, women have been the glue for Oak Atlanta, and don't let anybody tell you anything different. We rule as guys, but my GM's a strong black woman, and I feel like that's important. And in that case, we become the bulldogs. You know what I mean? And it's a very good yin yang. Even with my business partner Anthony, um, he's he does the things, and Lyric as well. They do the things that I don't want to do. I'm not better at. There's always a good yin yang situation, whereas I'm doing one thing and they're doing another, and everybody's coming together as a cohesive team. And being able to plan your attack based on strengths is very, very important. And that's how we've always done things. Everybody play their role, and we can do what we do.
Dope. And let's talk about the money. Let's talk about budgeting, because
Okay.
with you talking about all these different people I have booked, I can imagine how much money you guys have spent
Mm.
in a week's time. So, what is the most challenging part of budgeting for you guys?
Um, knowing knowing what operations look like, to be transparent, that was our entire first year. Our entire first year with a whole bunch of people where, we've got 5 to 6 owners and only one of them has done it before. And we had to get in a position where it's not just flipping, well, damn, we need little baby and he gonna cost, 75 grand. Well, no, beyond that 75 grand, I need to operate and buy liquor, which is going to cost me 20 grand. And I also have to, to make sure that we have enough liquor to sell because we're in the liquor business, to make sure that there's enough money to meet payroll because we don't want bounce checks. That was our entire first year, understanding that. And we got it wrong a few times. That's the God's honest truth. We got it wrong a few times because we ran the business as promoters. We ran the business from what we knew. Stepping into ownership is literally taking care of everybody first and yourself last. That's entrepreneurship. And that's why I said like this glitz and glamour of, I own a club now, so give me a yacht. I mean, I got some sneakers, some things are paid off and that's great. And it's cool and we're blessed. But to elevate, you have to understand every part of the business. And I think that's what makes us good. I think that's where the budgeting comes in, understanding that, what you need to pay for in marketing every week. I mean, I can tell that to somebody, but I know I need to be a little bit more effective this week. So I need 4 flyers for every event, knowing that I don't need to do that every single weekend. It just ties back into still having that good team. Budgeting is very, very important. Making sure that you can survive for the next 3 weeks, making sure that you can survive through COVID if you need to shut down for 3 months.
Right.
It wasn't they weren't easy conversations coming in a cold building, coming in a building, paying water bills and stuff like that in a place that big, 4,000 square feet, of a building we couldn't use. It's a lot of different avenues to it. But basically staying on top of things, man. Really staying on top of things. Budgeting is extremely important.
No, I can only imagine that whole situation. I'm just like, how y'all spending all this money? How much are y'all actually bringing in? Like, how can you talk about that just a little bit? Because I'm just curious, like, how do you manage to spend, say, 100,000 on one person on one night, and then expect to make that same money back? How does that work?
I mean, it's averaging, to be honest with you. For instance, if I know my talent's $100,000, I need to make up 70% of that on my table fees. After that, I'm using the average of what I'm going to do at a bar with a certain amount of people and making up the rest. Anything extra needs to come off the door. So door needs to be full profit. It's a lot of different avenues. There's parties we've said no to just because we didn't have the space. Just to be honest with you, we have a very big venue, but we aren't compound size where they have 100 tables and can afford to be an affordable option for everybody. That's why there's one compound. There's nothing like it. And all respect to Alex for building it with that vision. But you just kind of got to know what you have in the situation. It's literally just averaging, planning out very, very well. And based on that plan is how you win. If you don't plan, you just do it with your ego, you'll have some war stories and some good video angles, but it'll be an L. And that's just what it is. And that community also talks too. Like what we did on Super Bowl was our first time really putting our nuts on the table, not to be vulgar, and really doing the Diddy's and the Kevin Harts and the 50 Cents and the Cardi B's. And that put us in a position where they started talking. This spot is cool. So Kevin Hart's been back 3 times. Diddy put us all over his Instagram, and I'm at Oak right here. Cardi's been back 3-4 times. Migos have been there countless times. It's just having a good product and selling a good product. I actually had this conversation with somebody earlier about, a lot of times we support one another for the melanin, but I don't want it to just be for that reason. I want to still have a good product, because if somebody goes out there and steps out on me for being a Black man and gives me that chance, I still want them to get the best service possible. I don't want a charity situation. I don't want you to, spend your money off of pity for me because you feel like you need to help me. I want you to spend your money because you feel like it's the best option out there.
Exactly. Now I feel that. Now, what would you say is like a selling point for you as an investor? Like, what even made you say, okay, Oak is it? We down. What's the selling point? But because I'm pretty sure you have other investments outside of Oak, so let's not even just specify Oak. Let's just say, what is your selling point period as an investor?
I'm actually sitting in one right now. We can't talk about this
Oh
one yet,
wow.
but it's honestly it's a gut feeling. It's a God given gift. I don't have a lot of people have a lot of rhyme and reason. My partner Ant could probably have a better conversation about that, and how he crunches the numbers and does other things. God gave me a gift. I feel something in my stomach when it's right. I feel something different when it's wrong, and I have literally bet right every single time. And every time that I've went against my thought, I've always lost every single time.
Yes. Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
I literally, I'll give this story, and I hope Ant's not watching. We did. I got this opportunity. This gentleman called me randomly, who didn't know me, said he's been trying to track me down for weeks, and heard we were popping, and he offered me a deal that sounded crazy. It's probably gonna sound crazy to you too. He's like, "Yo, I got Six Flags." I'm like, "What you mean you got Six Flags?" He's like, "I got Six Flags. Like, we can get the door to Six Flags." I was like, "Well, how does that work?" And he gave me the numbers and was that and the other, but all you got to do is promote, and you get a ticket, and we make money. I think the tickets are what $40. We made like $11 off of each ticket, and then we're gonna do a concert in the back, and this, that, and the other was Soldier Boy. I got
Oh my
so
gosh, you
you
should have
remember
took
that?
it. I love Soldier Boy.
I did take it. I did take it. But let me tell you what happened. I went against my stomach. And my
Okay.
stomach said, "You too excited, bro. Do the math, do your homework." I'm like, "Man, what is the homework? I've been to Six Flags a million times. I know how this works. You go in, you get on the rides, there's cotton candy and shit, there's popcorn, and it's fun. And then we gonna add Soldier Boy." And that wasn't what it was. What wasn't said was that we could only use a certain amount of the entry gates. What wasn't said is that most tickets for Six Flags are bought online. We only got the tickets that will walk up. What wasn't said was that Sprite cans and Coke cans to this day have little UR codes on them to give you coupons for Six Flags. And what
Mm.
wasn't said was that the money for Soldier Boy was coming out of what we made at the gate. And if we didn't make enough at the gate, guess who wasn't coming to perform?
Oh wow.
I learned that the day of the hard way. And guess what? All my friends were on a trip to Jamaica, and they had a blast until I sent them a text message.
Oh my
Yeah. But I
gosh.
will say something. Shout out to Sammy. Sammy, the singer, actually came and did the show. Him and Ray Lavender actually came and did the show, just on some homie stuff. Like, yo, we're gonna help you out. We're gonna do it and be a part of it, and just did it off the love. So I appreciate them. So we didn't have anything to not give people. But it was, it was a bad situation. But I went against my stomach that day, and it seemed
Mm.
so good to be true, and it turned out that way. A lot of
Oh
people don't know
wow.
that story.
That is interesting. And
Yeah,
thanks for sharing that though,
no
because
problem.
a lot of people be scared to share their downfalls. And it's really not even L's, it's just learning lessons.
Right,
So
right.
I really commend you for even being
Thank you.
vulnerable enough to share that story because I think it's valuable. It's a valuable lesson within that. And I definitely agree. I always say go with your first mind, even when my friends be like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "What does your first mind say?" I'm gonna give you my opinion, but you need to go with your first mindset
Yeah,
because I never try to go against my gut. And like you said, whenever I've always lost. I've always
yep,
lost when I went against my
yep.
gut. And let's talk about expansion. With Oak Atlanta, what does expansion look like for you guys?
Um, we've definitely talked about it. We've definitely talked about doing it in another city. Um, we just don't know if it needs to be Oak Atlanta. Um,
Mm.
and that doesn't mean that we won't work together, we won't do anything, but we want Oak Atlanta to be its own unique situation. Oak is Oak for a reason, and we might want Oak just to stay that way. Um, that doesn't mean that we go into a different venture and go do it somewhere else. If we're in a position to do that, then God bless us and thank you. But if we definitely do it again, it'll more likely be under a different name.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I can feel that.
Yeah.
Now, how do you communicate your results? How do you communicate those results to clients and stakeholders?
We do that through spreadsheets. Every Monday, we do a group FaceTime. We like to look each other in the face, and everybody can't necessarily get to the club to do that. So we do a group FaceTime, which is a debrief of what happened the weekend before, with the good, bad, the ugly. We take that, and our managing member has that conversation with managers, and they have their own meeting, the exact same thing. By the time Wednesday comes, we've got a concise understanding of where we need to go better at and do other things at. If there's a decision made on Monday, we handle it on Tuesday. We try to give everybody Mondays off since we do so much. Obviously, this weekend will be a little bit different. We're going to work, well into the next week, but we're open every single day except Wednesday right now. And I'm probably going to start a Wednesday too. So
Wow.
Monday and Wednesday. Yeah. So it's spreadsheets. And our debrief is the biggest thing. We do that with, a profit and loss statement, going over the numbers, fine tooth comb, of what was what, no hidden expenses, and everybody stays in their lane. We pretty much, go through them before that time, though. As things are spent, it's very transparent on what's happening and what's being done. But your paperwork is extremely important. Extremely important.
No. In any business, paperwork
Absolutely.
is extremely important. You got to get organized. Get organized.
Gotcha.
Let's take a few steps back.
Okay.
I want to talk about one of your most challenging scenarios as a promoter, and how did you overcome it?
Challenging as a promoter. Are you just talking about just a bad time or just in general? Which one do you want to hear about?
Give me one of the best stories you got.
That was bad. I'll give you the biggest party that never happened.
Oh wow, let's go.
We found this property in the West Peachtree area. I'll say that, it's still up, and they had a pool outside, up on like the 5th level, and we got the inside to this. Somebody had bumped into who we were told was the manager of the venue, and it was a private residence, and said they didn't have a limit on how many people can come up there and throw a party. So 22-year-old me was like, well, shit, let's see it and figure it out. So I went up there, looked at it. It was crazy. I mapped it out. I do a cabana over here. We're gonna have general admission in here. We're gonna run people this way, and had it all together. And called my cop homeboy, and hey, I need you to make sure that the street is secure. We're gonna run some shuttle buses and drop students off here. They're gonna go in here, and it essentially turned out that the person who I thought was the property manager was kind of like a teacher's assistant almost. He was an assistant to an assistant who wasn't getting paid and who just had the key. And we literally promoted this party for about 3 weeks. Penthouse Splash was the name of it. It was a nighttime indoor-outdoor pool party, in a high rise. I mean, I don't think I've even done anything like that since, but it's really hard to get me to do a pool party because of this. But we went, and as the shuttle buses kept dropping people off, I never forget this officer bust in, who was a courtesy officer who lived there. And he's like, yo, what the fuck are y'all doing? And we're like, what you mean? We got the venue, we got this contract, which was already janky looking. And, said, hey, we got this party, we're gonna do it. We got people out here. Showed him, he was like, yeah, y'all can't do this party. I'm like, what you mean? And I'll never forget the sound of another bus coming. We went and all looked over the balcony at the same time. I swear it was like 600 people outside on West Peachtree, excited in bathing suits at 10 o'clock at night. and you know, I could have cried. And he essentially said that the person we had been talking to didn't live there. I couldn't get him on the phone. He had randomly just walked off and went back to his apartment. Later on, we ended up going to his apartment. And I spazzed on him and tried to fight him, but that's a whole nother story. And
So
I
did you
was still,
guys pay him any money?
yeah, we gave him $12.50. I'll never forget. Yep. Gave him $12.50.
Wow.
And he pocketed, denied it. We couldn't really sue him because he had a fake company that he was using as the leasing office, but nobody had any record of him. The cop homeboy randomly disappeared as we were talking to it. I'm literally in Firestone getting a tire fixed maybe 2 weeks after this. And I'll never forget, shout out to Jovita Moore. She comes out, on her anchor session, and she talks about somebody posing as a police officer. So my cop homeboy is also posing, acting like a police officer this whole time. Mind you, he done worked about a year's worth of events for me in full riot gear. He got the lights on his truck and all that, and the whole time he wasn't an officer. Taking our money every single week. And no, the crazy part is he would call in other non-officers to help him work, like backup. It just so
Wow.
happens that this courtesy officer came down and he was shook. You know what I mean? Because he didn't even get found out. And that's an offense. You can't impersonate an officer, and he got locked up for it. I don't know where he is, but I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. That
Yo,
was
that
probably
is wow. Oh my
crazy,
gosh.
crazy,
That is
crazy
crazy.
situation.
Yo, you have
Absolutely.
stories for
Yo,
days.
I've
An
been here for
hour
a
is
minute, man.
not enough for you.
It ain't enough. It ain't enough. It ain't enough. We're gonna get it right though.
Now let's talk about one of your dream clients. I mean, at this point, you have had everybody. You've hosted a lot of dope people, but who was one of your dream clients in the very beginning as a promoter, club owner, whatever it might be? And how did it go? Like, what was that like booking them?
I'll say two, and they're pretty much the two of the top people in the game. One was Drake. I did that one with AG, Alex. He obviously fostered that relationship, and I'll never forget. You see people all the time, and somebody like that, he goes through hundreds of people on a regular basis. But we actually met earlier on at Howard's homecoming, and that was our first time meeting. No, second time meeting. Yeah, first time meeting. I'm sorry. Um, he came out as a surprise with 2 Chainz when they had the song "No Lies" out, and it was a real Michael Jackson moment. And people were, you could probably look at the footage, but people were getting trampled, and I mean, they went completely insane when he came outside, and to the point that we stopped the show and we started jumping off the stage helping people up. Real Michael Jackson moment, and because of that, it was only a little bit of us kind of in the same crew. It was really just him and Chubbs who had been there, and me with 2 Chainz crew, which was maybe 3 people at that time, and then everybody else was Howard staff, and just the reaction of that because 2 Chainz was already popping, and I mean it was deafening. I've never heard a deafening roar outside. It was really stadium status, and that was probably one of the craziest moments they've had there too. And he came for the booking with Alex and Remember Me. You know what I mean? We literally were, had the party and we're leaving. I think we were leaving. It was Opium, but it was called Preview at the time. And Alex, like, hey, this is my man Corey. He's like, I know Corey. You know what I mean? So that was a cool moment for me where he acknowledged that something that happened a year before. My second one would probably be, and to speak to Drake, he is who he is. What you see is what you get with that gentleman. He is super humble, super dope, and super down to earth. I don't know how he controls that with his status, as far as not having an ego really, really crazy. But he's deserving of everything he's gotten because of that. He's a very, very admirable dude in every sense of the way. The next one was I believe it was the Magna Carta tour with Jay-Z, and it is the
Wow.
only we did it. We were doing a party at Rain nightclub, and we just got this call and it started drizzling, and it was just people upon people. I mean, tables upstairs was $6,000. I sold the table to Julio Jones. I mean, you just, he had just got to the team. There's just a lot of small moments inside of a big moment. And we got this call about 30 minutes out, and it was like, we're sending out security to prep the place. And we're like, we did walk through already. We advanced the spot already. And it was like, yeah, well, Beyonce's coming. And
Wow.
I think Beyonce had just dropped Lemonade. I'm almost positive that's the album she dropped. She dropped it maybe 3 days before. And I think that's the only place that she went out to the club with on his date. And, it was so many hoops we had to jump through for that party. For one, we couldn't put Jay-Z's likeness on it. We could only put Jay-Z and Duce. And from that, it was so much we had to try to do as far as the marketing. And literally the night before, it was like, yo, we could use this space. So we flooded it with like 5, 6 flyers. And then I think 30 minutes before, we thinking Beyonce is coming. So this party where everybody has spent all this money to see Hove quickly turned into a Beyonce party. And I ended up getting the chance with one of the security guards to walk her in. She's very humble, very nice. We walked her in, sat her down, and Hove came and dapped me. Like, yo, appreciate it for getting my wife straight. And she sat down, and honestly, the party, no disrespect to Hove, turned into a Beyonce party. It's, they played her music, and it changed the entire course of the conversation. That was a real dope moment. Everybody was star-studded. There was nobody there who wasn't trying to take a picture. There wasn't anybody there who wasn't kind of in awe. One is Hove, but then you get Hove and Beyonce in the same place. I mean, that
And
doesn't
what
happen.
venue was this? This is so
This was in
dope.
Rain. It was in Rain nightclub. Rain and Vanquish were on Peachtree. They don't exist anymore. Rain is actually, what was it called? They just renamed it something else. Not Domain. I forgot. But it was a dope moment. That was a really, really cool moment. And I've been around some of everybody. I've been around Kanye, Andre 3000. I mean, I think I've been around everybody, but Michael Jackson. I've been around Michael Jordan, Ludacris, obviously. It's a lot of people. I've been blessed to see and be around and share space with a lot of cool people and see them for who they are. Even down to Whitney Houston, God rest her soul. It's been a lot of cool things I've been able to do, and it's for my mentors and for the people who look out for me and who've shown me the way. Your Shaka Zuls, your Keenan Johnsons, your Jeff Dixons. There's just a lot of people there who I can go on and on about. Who Jamal Coleman. There's a lot of people who put me in great positions, and I'm grateful.
We have someone in the chat room, DJ Scrib. These stories are amazing. I agree. Like I said, you need way more than an hour because these stories, I'm like mind blown. Yeah, and I mean, you have so many success stories. I think it's just so amazing. If I didn't know no better, I would have thought you was 50 years old.
I've lived a lot of life, man. I tell people that's my main thing. I tell you, I've lived a lot of life, man. I came here as a 17-year-old kid from New Jersey. And man, I've gotten so many opportunities. I've been on tour before. I mean, I've done jets. I've done other countries. I mean, there's a lot of cool things I've gotten the chance to do, man. I just, I've always wanted to see a lot of things and live a lot of life, and God has granted me that. So I am forever, forever grateful.
So amazing. Let's talk about your success. How do you measure success?
For me, I measure it with the people. I'm a different breed. Money is cool, but money for me isn't everything. And I don't say that to be cliche. I say it because I do it for the curation. Down to the garden party, which is an event that I got tapped to do for Morgan & Morgan Law Firm. And the whole thing's free for everybody. It's a $75,000 budget, but beyond that, 1,700 people come up in there and they eat, drink, and can be fly in peace. They don't have to deal with what I do in the club. They don't have to deal with an artist. It's just atmosphere and ambiance and smiles. And that's what I do it for, the smiles. I do it for the appreciation of doing something different. My one-up isn't getting an artist over you. My one-up is curating to a point that you're memorable. And when we started, My business partners and I, when we started the Hit Squad down here, we wanted to be memorable. We never wanted it to be, hey, I partied here, or hey, I partied there. It's I party with Hit Squad, or I party with Corey, I party with PB, I party with Anthony, or Sir Paul, or Josh, or whoever it may be. Um, and that's what was important, creating lasting memories for people.
Let's talk about, what would you say, what word best reflects your creativity? Or would you say you don't have to get creative in this game?
Mm-hmm. You saying what event, or just what do I do that affects my creativity?
Like within your work, what would you say best reflects your creativity? It could be an event, or it could be your marketing, or whatever it might be.
Sadly, I can't talk on it because I am sitting in it, and it is my newest project. My newest project will reflect my creativity to a whole nother level. It is game changing for sure. I'm happy to be in the position. um, but it is curation to the finest extent. Um, I'm a thinker, and I'm in a position now where I get a chance to just think. I've been brought into this to be a thinker, to be a curator, to be a creator, and that is where I live. My space is creation, for sure. Can't wait to show you.
Well, the background looked nice. I can
It's
say
cool.
that much. Look
It's
like
cool.
wood on some
Bamboo, you
velvet
know?
seats. I
Yeah,
don't know what's going on, but
yeah,
it
it's a
looks nice.
little something,
It
little
looks
something.
really nice.
Thank you.
But how do you keep up with like the trends that's going on within this industry, with so much going on in so many different nightclubs? How do you keep up?
Oh, we get younger. My secret weapon is my little brother PB. When we started the company, we wanted to take other individuals after a while, and I'm really good at selling, right? So I can motivate you to run through a wall. I'm really good at that. I wanted to take the next crop of Hit Squad, or the next class of Hit Squad, um, and get people who could be um, the next premier person. You know, not my duplication, but better than me. And it took me a few years, and it took me, going through a lot of different people, and a lot of people got placed still in our company. Like Sir Paul, who ran the company for a very long time. But Sir Paul has his own understanding of, in his own lane in this business. But we needed somebody who could carry the torch, and evolve, and that was my little brother PB, and he keeps us young. He's the guy who does Sunday brunch, and it's absolutely phenomenal. He's also the guy who does Friday night at Opium, absolutely phenomenal. And these people would tell you, his work speaks for himself. Getting young, staying relevant, has been the thing that kept us afloat. And every year we did that with his squad. Every year we bring in a new class of people, of 40 kids, every single year, who are 40 new entrepreneurs, and explaining them, this is how we run business. This is the mold. Be unapologetically yourself under our umbrella. That's what I want you to do. And they got it. They got it. And then some people got it more than others. And he just got it to the fullest extent. And he's still learning. We had an hour call today, just about what our weekend looks like, and, things that get him upset, and how he's created some things and people are biting his style. He's a creator as well. But trying to give him game on things that I learned 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and just get him in a good spot. So, as long as he can live and thrive, as long as Paul can live and thrive, and all these other younger guys who came under us, then we're still here. We're still relevant. We're blessed.
Dope. That's so dope. How much have you made on your slowest night? I'm just curious at this point. As a promoter,
as a
you give us
promoter,
both. As a promoter, and then also as a club owner.
As a promoter, should have lost. Owing money, as a promoter, that's God's honest truth. If any promoter tells you he hasn't lost no money, he ain't promoting. He's a sub promoter. He's hired help. Owing the club money. It's not a good feeling to have to bring an extra $1,000 up the next day because you didn't meet your expenses. But you start counting that bottle you drunk, and that parking. They said no, we got it, or that food you order from the kitchen and the wings really weren't that good. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, I really spent $1,000, huh? You know, but as an owner, probably from a profit standpoint, maybe $600, $700. It happens. It was on a big party too.
Interesting. That's a real answer. That's why I can
It's real
appreciate
answer.
you, Corey, because you keep it real. That's interesting. See, y'all
Yeah.
never
I mean,
know. Y'all think people just taking home $1 million a day. You
oh
just never know.
no, oh no. It's all fun and games. That artist is $20,000 and your profit is 600 because everything evened out. Look great though. Look real good.
And I do have a few more questions, but before I take it there, we do have a few questions from our audience. I want to say thank you guys for, staying tuned for the entire conversation. Our guy Corey here has so many gems, so much knowledge, so many experiences to share with us. So I really appreciate you again, Corey, for
Thank you.
sharing your stories and giving us that inside juice. We
Absolutely.
have DJ Scrib here. How do you find DJs for the events in your establishment?
I'm actually pretty big on DJs. I'm always looking to expand. I hate recycling people. I think DJ is a lost art that's kind of deteriorating in front of our eyes. I come from New Jersey where DJs have to hold their own. They have to be vocal on the microphone. And I've actually had this joust with a lot of DJs here about how a lot of them, get paid to do nothing. I call them iPod DJs, and they just put on music. I need you to control the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the MC. Don't grab the microphone if you're just gonna ad lib the songs. I don't need you for that. I need you to create an experience, and I feel like that starts with the DJ. So when I book a DJ, it's based on, can he do that? Can he create an experience? One thing, and I'll speak to this kind of meshing with the question you asked me earlier about some of my biggest events as far as curating and creation. Cassette, I was actually brought on with Kenny Burns, Miss Hannah Kang, and Bachi, and they put me in a position to do something dope. And our experience is about an old school party. And old school, we don't mean outdated old school. We mean a party where the DJ comes in and for 3 hours, that's all we dealing with is the DJ. But no bottles, no sparklers, no artist. It's just dancing. And we force the dance floor. And Cassette's dope like that. We had DJ Mars come in, DJ E-Class come in. It's his birthday. Happy birthday, E-Class. And they literally just control they dig in the crate, stuff they can't do, when they got a 2-hour constraint of, an artist is about to pop up and this person's, just bought a 1942. They go back, what I mean? And it's much like what, DJ D Nice does on his station. D Nice is one of the first people we did book a cassette and people don't even know it. D Nice has been rocking parties around me for a very long time. He's been dope. And there's a lot of DJs who are like that who don't get their just due. So try to find a DJ in that realm. A DJ who can hold his own, who can be the party until we start doing anything dope in the spot.
Dope. Okay, next question is, based on your business and name, do you get overwhelmed with contrast and clientele?
Yes. One of our first issues was because we were named the Hit Squad. And then I'll talk about Oak as well. So for anybody from Atlanta, I won't give out too many names, but one of a premier rapper is Southside Mafia, was a gang here, and the Southside Mafia is affectionately known as the Hit Squad. And we threw a party in that area of town, and they came to see us. Like, hey, we heard there's a Hit Squad party, was what he said, and well, we the Hit Squad, so who are you? And but at that point he's dealing with a little edgier Corey with dreads and baggy clothes, and was ready on go, and the conversation was just a man conversation. It was, hey, bro, that ain't what we do. That ain't what we on. If this was New Jersey, we'd be talking a different conversation. But what we do right now isn't like that. We throwing parties, and if y'all want to get in, we'll give y'all a discount. And that's what it was. They came in 30 deep with a
Wow.
discount. You know what I'm saying? And it's been respect with myself and that rapper ever since then. And we joke about that conversation because he was a different person. As far as Oak Atlanta, we got a cease and desist. I'll be honest with you, from One Oak our first week, and we ain't y'all. We don't want to be y'all. And because of that thing, we had to have a conversation with their attorneys, and it just was like, similar. I get where you're coming from, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to duplicate y'all in any way. We don't look like y'all. We don't spend like y'all. We don't have the talent that you guys go. We don't even talk to the same market. But they understood and they backed off, and we haven't heard from them since. So we've been good. We've been good.
Dope.
They were nervous.
Okay.
They were nervous about Super Bowl. I think Super Bowl made them a little nervous.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
Makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. They made a little nervous.
Another question from the audience we have: has O branched out to other partnerships, sponsorships for other people, or just strict with the circle around this? Strict with the circle already created. Do I need to repeat that?
No, I mean, you're saying, do we do partnerships with anybody? We partner with people all the time. Different brands, different, liquor brands, different lifestyle brands. We're open to it. It just has to make sense for what we curate. Every night is different, So if we're doing something that's comedy related, it makes sense. If we're doing something club related, it makes sense. If we're doing one-off, it makes sense. I mean, we've shot movies there. We've, shot Love and Hip Hop's been there. Movies been there. I mean, literally some of everything has happened there. So we're open to partner with anybody in any facet. It just has to make sense for our brand and for what that specific curation is.
Cool. And last question from the audience is: are you willing to hire people from out of state if they are down to travel?
Absolutely. I got a DJ who's coming from out of state right now. And he's a good friend, and he drives in town. Anytime he comes to see his family, I give him a job. I give him a gig. We're very open to being diverse in every sense of the way. And that keeps people on their toes. I won't hire the same DJ every week because I want the last DJ to know that his job can get taken too. I don't mind, again, being a bulldog and spazzing out on a promoter because he's getting too comfortable because I got spazzed on. I got taught a certain way. Expectations are always high, and it's more than glitz and glamour. Again, we're feeding someone's children. We're putting someone through school. We're paying a car note. So I got to take it as serious as anybody else does. A lot of people don't respect this profession because they think it's all fun and bullshit. And it's bigger than that. People are making their ends meet. People don't have day jobs. They do this. This is what they do. This is what funds their entire life. So, when COVID happened, we got a dose of that, a dose of real understanding that, this is all I have going on with my life. It needs to work. And we don't mind our responsibility, but we're going to protect it.
Dope. I normally play a game, but I know we are running out of time. But I would like for you to just leave our audience with any insight, any information that you want to. I know you gave so much, but there's one thing you want to leave these guys with. If it's a young entrepreneur that aspires to be like you someday, what is the advice you would give him or her?
Be valuable. That's all this comes down to. The biggest thing that you can do is figure out who you are and where you want to go as quick as possible, and then be valuable in that. Don't try to create the next anything. Create the first everything. If you're valuable, that's the closest way to get into those millions. And
Dope.
So I can tell you.
We received a lot of feedback from you, Corey. A lot of good feedback. They was like, this is one of the best panels they have tuned into in a very long time. And I agree. It's just been dope just listening. Like, I literally been wanting to sit here and be like, just talk.
Uh-oh.
It's okay. But literally just been wanting to sit here and just say, just talk. I don't have to ask you nothing. Just share your stories. But no, seriously, I want to say Thank you so, so much for, blessing our platform with your presence and your gems, your insight. You're such an amazing person. From the first time I think I met you at Cafe Circa, when you was sleeping in the A-hole at the door.
But what you don't know is
But
I met you. I saw you before that. I actually saw you doing something similar to this, interviewing somewhere. I think it was maybe on a video, a blog, or something like that. So I've always respected what you've done. I'm definitely a different monster at the door. So I want to give you your roses and tell you that you've been dope for a very long time, and I'm happy for everything that's happening for you. And if I can be an asset to that, you got a friend in me.
Thank you. I really appreciate that so much. Thank you so much, Corey. Make sure you guys follow him. How can people get in contact with you? I know some people be a little funny about how they want people to reach out. So please be very direct how you want people to reach out to you.
At Corey with a K, that's Corey Witt, KOREYWITAK. On Instagram, you can always hit me up there. And I don't mind having conversations, and we'll take it from there. Or you can email me at corey@oaklatlanta.com. But if you see me in the street, and if it's a conversation, man, I don't mind it, man. Somebody gave me the game, I don't mind giving it back.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. Thank you guys for tuning in and staying here this whole time for this entire hour and a half. Thanks to those guys who are part of our happy hour experience, courtesy of Cavassier. Drink responsibly. Happy hour is always amazing with Langdon, Green Tom Foods on IG. Guys, we have so much more to present to you the rest of the week. So make sure you guys tap in again tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Follow us at Dope People Meet if you have not already done that. Also, follow our playlist on Spotify. We have these dope playlists curated for each single day, courtesy of our drink specials each day. And also follow me at Portia Marie, PORCHIAMARIE on IG as well. Thank you guys so much. I love you, and I hope you guys having a blessed and amazing night. I was going to say weekend, but it's not even the weekend yet. But have a blessed night. Thank you so much, Corey. You guys,
no problem.
See you guys soon.
Dope People Meet. Thank you.
Yes. Later.